Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my 10 predictions in gaming for 2021. I haven't really done a video like this before, but I figured this will be an interesting video to look back on in 12 months and see just how much I actually got right, because 2020 was so unpredictable. You had the reception of The Last of Us 2, you had the whole Cyberpunk debacle, and no one at the start of 2020 would have predicted those things to happen how they did. But I'm going to give it my best shot, and my first prediction actually contains Cyberpunk, but not in the way that you might expect, because I think that the Cyberpunk multiplayer section will be delayed again, like Cyberpunk always is. However, Cyberpunk 2077 will be a great game by the end of 2021. There are of course all of the bugs on the base console, and I'm not sure how much they will fix the base console. I think they'll get a smooth frame rate, but I think that there will always be a lot of bugs for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. But even on next-gen consoles, there are a lot of bugs, but with the DLC planned and the time that they have to put effort into this game now to save it, and despite all of their massive pre-orders, the consensus surrounding the game is that it's been a failure, especially the launch, and it absolutely has been. They knew how bad the base game was, and they chose to just not show it in marketing. But this year they will have DLC coming out, and looking at The Witcher 3, especially Blood and Wine, their single player DLCs and expansions to the game knocked it completely out of the park, and I think they will continue to do that this year, and more people will get their hands on the game on any type of console, and they will really enjoy it. I'm not quite sure, because of the release date, whether it was considered for this year's Game Awards. I don't believe it was nominated in any categories, so it could be up there for Game of the Year next year, but I just don't see it winning it at all, and I don't see another game winning it, which might be a surprise, but that's coming later. It will be a No Man's Sky situation or a Battlefront 2 situation where the game's launch was atrocious, absolutely shocking. It could not have gone worse for them, but they'll slowly regain faith from the people who felt betrayed by them, because once the expansions come out and once the game is completely fixed, that game will be worth the money and it will be loved by a lot of people. My second prediction is that there will be no GTA 6. Not in 2021. I don't think there'll be an announcement of it. I don't think there'll be a tease. And this is probably not surprising to anybody here, but I think there will be a couple of GTA 5 expansions. There won't be any the size of the Cayo Perico heist, I don't believe, but I think there will be a few new vehicle drops, maybe a new adversary mode. I'm actually surprised that they haven't taken Fall Guys and turned that into a GTA mode, where you could have everyone just running through a Rockstar created course, and that actually would have a lot of potential for users to then create their own courses and their own levels that could then be implemented in a Fall Guys kind of game. But no matter how much support GTA 5 is given, whether that is absolutely no support or it's supported every month with completely new content every time, there will be no GTA 6, there will be no rumours of it. I'm sure YouTubers will make videos on it saying that GTA 6 is confirmed and the locations and the time release date, but there will be no actual information to deal with. Next up is a bit more personal to me, being a massive Star Wars fan, and that is I believe there will be a new Star Wars RPG announced, that there will be absolutely nothing about a Battlefront 3. The entire team at DICE is now working on Battlefield 6 or the next Battlefield game. It hasn't been given an official title yet, but those who were still working on updating and saving Battlefront 2 were moved once the support for the game stopped. They were moved over to Battlefield, and the entire team at DICE is now working on it. On the Star Wars side, that won't be DICE developing it. I don't believe it'll be Respawn either, because they are working on Jedi Fallen Order 2, but the dream is that BioWare would start development on it. They're absolutely okay with teasing something miles ahead of release. They gave us a Dragon Age trailer, which didn't show much gameplay at all, and then they still teased a new Mass Effect game through another cinematic trailer, despite the fact that Dragon Age hasn't even come out yet. So I think that would be amazing. Maybe the game would even be set in the High Republic era, which Star Wars is now focusing on through comics and through books and through that side of media, but it would be nice for them to bring it over to the video game world, because if you think of Knights of the Old Republic, the kind of RPG that they could make and that BioWare could make has so much potential, and this is more of my pipe dream, but my prediction is that that game will be revealed in 2021. And I was just talking about Battlefield 6 and how the whole team at DICE is developing it, and all you see there have been investor calls, there have been small little teasers here and there. Anyone who talks about the next Battlefield game talks about the massive scale and how they are absolutely taking advantage of the next-gen consoles to make a scale that no one has ever seen before, which is why I believe that Battlefield 6 will have over 100 players in their main match of Conquest. The largest a lobby can get is 64 players, that's 32 on either side, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if it turned out that you had 64 players on either side, making that 128 total. We know that Battlefield 6 is going to have loads of destruction, and we believe that it will not be set as far in the past as the last two installments have been. Hopefully they're bringing it back into a more modern setting, like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. And yes, my prediction is that the main mode, Conquest, will feature over 100 enemies in the map fighting against each other at one time. A smaller prediction here, and a very personal one, is that I believe that I will get a PlayStation 5 in my hands by the end of the year. I've got 12 months to do it. Over in Japan, they're discontinuing the line of PlayStation 4 Slims and Pros to focus on PS5s because of the market demand. And obviously that's not going to affect me. I don't live in Japan, I live in England, where there is absolutely not a PS5 to be seen. But I reckon you give me 12 months, you give me 365 days, and there is a fair enough chance that I might get a PS5 in my hands and I'll be able to play all of these great games, the next gen versions of those great games. Maybe, and I don't want to be too bold here, before June, maybe if you give them 6 months, they might get them in stock. That's just my hope. This one is even more of a pipe dream than a Star Wars RPG coming out. And now we're back to a more serious prediction. I believe that The Last of Us 2 Factions mode, the multiplayer element of the game, is going to be revealed, given a release date in 2021, and then it's going to get pushed back. The Last of Us 2 released, of course, with only a single player mode. I say only a single player campaign like that's a bad thing. That was not at all. But fans did love The Last of Us's multiplayer mode and were really excited to see it in The Last of Us 2. But Naughty Dog said that they started with a smaller vision for Factions and they now plan to build on that and release it completely separately as its own mode. I don't think they'll announce any single player DLC, which is a shame, but I completely understand and I'm really excited to try out The Last of Us multiplayer. I've never played it myself, but it's always been talked about really positively and it seemed to be a really underrated section of the game. But I do believe, just because it's 2021 and the effects of the pandemic are definitely still being felt at the moment, and I think they will continue throughout the year, not to be too much of a negative person, but I think that it will still affect all forms of media, including video games, and I don't believe The Last of Us 2's multiplayer mode will actually come out this year. I would give it a March 2022 sort of release date, early on in the next year, just after a delay from, say, November's release date. I also predict this channel will actually reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That may be a shot in the dark, that may just be another pipe dream, but it will be amazing to see. And if you're not subscribed right now and you're enjoying the video, by all means go and do that. Last year the channel grew absolutely crazily. It went from about 100 subscribers to now 4,100 subscribers, but a lot of that was down to the absolute explosion in popularity of Spider-Man Miles Morales on this channel, so I'm not going to bank all of my hopes on something like that happening again so quickly, but getting 900 more subscribers and getting to 5,000 would be huge and would be amazing to see. So as I said before, if you aren't subscribed right now, go for it. And now I believe that Halo Infinite and Gotham Knights will both flop. I think Gotham Knights, I want to talk about that first, will do much better than the Marvel's Avengers did, because it is not a games as a service title. There will be a whole Gotham to explore, completely free roam with your 3 other mates. There's already a story planned for it, and hopefully we're not going to get bored of the game after playing it for like 3 days. However, the fact that they've killed Batman off, and while he did feature in the reveal trailer, and I believe that he will not be dead and he will become playable later on after you finish the campaign perhaps, I still believe that Batman is such a big pulling factor on people buying these games, especially the Arkham series, that I do just worry for Gotham Knights. They've done well to not include Batman in the title, but I just think the mainstream media isn't going to pick it up quite so much being called Gotham Knights, and if someone who only knows Batman sees those 4 lining up, they're not going to know who they are, they're just going to see different colours. I just need to really say here that this is not a criticism of Warner Bros. Montreal at all. I think it's amazing that they're doing this game and I cannot wait for it, but I just worry that not as many people are going to pick it up. I think there will be a dedicated fan base and you will be able to find people to play with in that game for years to come, but I just don't think it's going to reach the highest heights that the Arkham series did. Halo Infinite, on the other hand, has just become a meme already, and with how Halo 5 went, it's not too crazy to say that Halo Infinite's not going to be a game changer. I think it will sell moderately well. They missed a chance by having it launch alongside the Xbox Series X, but if the game was not in a finished state and it seemed to not be in the best state possible, then it absolutely makes sense to not launch it, because if it had failed that poorly at launch, it would have ruined all of Xbox and all of Microsoft's reputation. But I think Halo fans will enjoy it well enough, but people who aren't Halo fans, I don't think they'll be convinced to go out and buy it if it launches this year. And now, looking towards the end of 2021, to the Game Awards, to the Game of the Year discussions, my bold prediction is that God of War Ragnarok will not be the Game of the Year. I think it's the most hyped game of the year. I think everyone's expecting it to be another 10 out of 10. But I think that there are some other games that could come out as a surprise and snatch the win away from God of War. Ragnarok is going to have such a huge fan base behind it that this is absolutely a prediction that could go completely wrong and they could sweep all of the awards. But I think with games like Horizon Forbidden West coming out this year, you've got Hogwarts Legacy, the massively anticipated Harry Potter RPG, which will have a huge fan base behind. So if they do well with this game and make it a satisfying single-player Harry Potter game, there is a chance it will get a huge amount of votes. Even if it's not a 10 out of 10 game, even if it's an 8.5 or a 9, that could be enough for it. There's Hitman 3, which will probably be an understated hit of the year, and there's Hellblade 2, which, if they've taken Senua's Sacrifice, made the game look even better. If you saw the reveal trailer, you'd have been blown away that that was actually in-game footage. Obviously, it was still a trailer, but it was all rendered on the Series X, and it looked amazing. That could be an indie hit that goes all the way like Hades did this year. I know they're completely different styles of games, but it could come out of nowhere and surprise everyone. So my prediction is that God of War Ragnarok, despite probably being the highest selling game or second highest selling game behind Hogwarts Legacy of the year, I do not believe it is going to win the main Game of the Year award. And my final prediction for gaming in 2021 is that there will be another Marvel game announced. I believe that will be a Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy game. That was rumoured a while ago, and could be an Avengers but better, with co-op features going through the whole galaxy rather than just the same 3 terrains that we got in Marvel's Avengers, fighting multiple aliens, loads of different enemies, not just AIM robots in every single mission. And I think it will be given a release date of 2023. I don't believe it's going to come out next year. I believe it's going to be announced this year. They will then leave Marvel's Avengers to try and save itself. And a side prediction here that I'm not going to count is that Marvel's Avengers, its consistent player base will rise back to respectable levels, but it's not going to be a game changer, it's not going to be massively popular, but they will bring it round to having enough heroes that people will play the game casually and not just completely ignore it like I've been doing, like so many people have been doing since the game launched. But the new Marvel's game, hopefully a Guardians of the Galaxy game, will be revealed this year. And that is my last prediction. If you agree, if you disagree with any of these, let me know down below. I'm not going to make you list 10 crazy predictions yourself, but just give me one. Give me your biggest prediction of the year down below, and we'll have a little talk about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a like. As I said, trying to reach 5,000 subs by the end of the year. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you next time.